this is part one of chapter three. So, before we begin with this chapter, this is basically the second timeline. In the first timeline, we read about the early humans, how humans transformed into becoming what we are presently, our physical structure, how it kept on changing with the evolving times. So, in the first chapter, we read about that. So, this is basically information about the earliest, most humans that ever existed. The second chapter was about the Mesopotamian civilization, which is a contemporary of one of the oldest civilizations. And so we read about Mesopotamia, its city structure, what kind of literacy levels was there, what kind of city life was present there. So we had read all this information in the first timeline, and that was the oldest period that we have read about until now. So after this, we come a little bit closer to our present times in the history, and that is the timeline second, which is from circa 100 BCE to 1300 CE. Now, please just make sure that you have taken into notice the change from BCE to CE. That is, we are finally coming to the era that is from before Common Era to Common Era. So, this is the time period that we are going to talk about into this timeline, and this timeline focuses on the start of the kingdoms and empires, that two large ones. One of the earliest largest empires that we have seen in the entire world was the Roman Empire, and it was so large that it almost spread across the three continents, that is the southern part of Europe, the northern part of Africa, and the western part of Asia. So this was so large. So this is going to be our first chapter, which is an empire across the three continents. Apart from that, in this timeline, we are going to read about some of the major religious and cultural traditions that developed. So in this, we are going to read about the central Islamic lands, that is the beginning of Islam as a religion, etc. Apart from that, we are going to read about how the institutions of intellectual activity emerged, that is how merit started getting more importance in the society. And apart from that, the books were being written, so the sources of information available as compared to the past has increased tremendously, because now many people had the knowledge of writing. So the sources of information available, especially in terms of books, had increased drastically during this period. So apart from that, some things that are now part of our everyday life was first time used during this period. So we are going to read about the things which were started to being used during this period and is continued to be used until now. So this is the importance of this timeline, that is from circa 100 BCE to 1300 CE. So let's move on to the chapter quickly. So the introduction part of this chapter, that is an empire across three continents, goes like this: that the Roman Empire, it covered a vast stretch of territory, as we have already talked about, that it stretched into almost three continents, which included most of Europe and a very large part of North Africa, which I've already told you. Apart from that, the Fertile Crescent. So Fertile Crescent is that part of Western Asia which is considered to be extremely productive. So it is to the east of the Mediterranean Sea, and that is what is the meaning of Fertile Crescent. So it is in the shape of crescent, that is why it is termed as the Fertile Crescent. So we, in this chapter, we are going to read about the way this empire was organized, the political forces that shaped its destiny. So we are going to read about the rulers who were important during this period for this empire, and how the people were divided into various social groups. Like there were proper categories in this empire, and there was a proper hierarchy of these social categories. That is, there was one category which would rule at the top, then the importance of the categories will reduce as we go down in the hierarchy table. So apart from that, we are going to read about important information of the local cultures and languages, and the situation of women in their society, whether they had proper legal rights or not. So we're going to read about that. Apart from that, we are going to read about the labor, the slave culture that was prevalent in Roman Empire, and how numerous people had lost their freedom and had become slaves at the hands of the nobility class. And this is all we are going to read about in this chapter. So let's start with the first important information about this chapter, which is the sources of information about this empire, that is the Roman Empire. So importantly, every period has important sources of information. Like in the previous chapter, when we were reading about the early humans and Mesopotamians, we said that the sources of information are quite limited, because during that time people did not know the art of writing. There was no proper language that was developed. Therefore, people used to convey their emotions or whatever information with the help of mostly paintings, that is pictographic script. So there was not a proper development of writing technique during this that period. But in the time of the Roman Empire, the writing practice had emerged quite a lot as compared to the previous part. So here in this chapter, there are going to be important sources of information, and these sources of information can be divided into three categories. That is, there is text, there is documents, and the third part is the material remains. So the textual sources include the histories of the period written by contemporaries. So whatever contemporary means people who were alive at that time, and they were seeing all these things happening in front of their eyes. So these were the people who had left behind proper accounts of the times in which they lived. So these are the textual sources. The second part is the documentary sources, the documents, which include the various laws and sermons and inscriptions and papyri which were passed by the kings. So inscriptions, obviously you know that inscriptions are basically cut out on the stones. So important instructions given by the kings, they are engraved on proper stones, and they have a very long survival period, because stones does not easily get destroyed by the ravages of time. So the documents include inscriptions. Apart from that, they also includes the papyri. So papyrus is a reed like plant, and which was used by the people to process important writing material. Like for example, we use bamboo today for the development of paper. Similarly, papyri was also a sort of leaf which could be used easily to write on. So these papyrus trees, they used to grow along the banks of the river Nile in Egypt, and thousands of contracts, accounts, letters, and official documents have been surviving on these papyri, which have been published by various scholars. So whosoever used to write on the papyrus, those scholars used to be called as papyrologists. So material remains, the third important source of information is the material remains, and it includes a vast assortment of items like important buildings, monuments, structures, potteries, coins. The study of coins, as you know, is called numismatics. So these are the important sources of information which tells us a lot in detail about the Roman Empire. And this again can be asked as a question, that give information about the sources of information related to the empire which spanned across the three continents. So let's begin with the geography of the Roman Empire. So the period that we are talking about during this time is the time period when there were two powerful empires that ruled over most of Europe, North Africa, and Middle East. By Middle East, I mean the mostly Arabian countries and countries like Turkey, etc., that are towards the east of the Mediterranean Sea. So between the birth of Christ and the early part of the 7th century, there were two powerful empires that ruled Europe. So these two empires were that of Rome, which is the main focus of this chapter, and second is the Iranian Empire, which is also called Persian Empire, because Persia is the oldest name of Iran. So Romans and Iranians, they were both rivals, and they fought against each other because obviously both of their boundaries were in like like they were neighbors to each other. So when there are two empires which are neighbors to each other, it is quite natural that both of them are in conflict with each other in the trial to increase their boundaries into the boundaries of the other empire. So these two were constantly at war with each other in the hope that they would be able to increase the area under their control. So these empires lay next to each other, and they were only separated by a narrow strip of land that ran along the river of Euphrates. Now, until now, you must have remembered the location of river Euphrates. So this land which was along the banks of Euphrates was the only narrow area. So you can call it as a frontier. So frontier is that part which is lying between the boundaries of two important empires. So this was a frontier, and it acted as the boundary between the two important empires, that is the Roman Empire and its rival, the Iranian Empire. So in the geography, if you can see in the map what it is given, you will see that the entire empire of Rome, it stretched along the continents of Europe and Africa that are separated by a sea which is called the Mediterranean Sea, and it has stretched all the way from Spain in the west to Syria in the east. Now, Syria is again a country to the east of the Mediterranean Sea. So, we have already said that Mediterranean formed an important part of the Roman Empire. Apart from that, Rome dominated the Mediterranean. Rome is a capital of present day Italy as well. So, it had dominated the entire empire because it is obviously the Roman Empire. So, Rome was the capital of this empire, and all the regions around its sea in both the directions, that is towards the north, that is the southern part of Europe, and towards the south, that is the northern part of Africa. So to the north, the boundaries of the empire were formed by two great rivers. So these are the important borders or the boundaries. So the boundaries in the north is made by the rivers, that is Rhine and Danube, and to the south by the huge expanse of Sahara. You know, there is a large part of this African subcontinent which is covered by Sahara desert. So the vast stretch of territory was that of the Roman Empire, and Iran controlled the whole area that is to the south of the Caspian Sea. If you can focus on your map and locate Caspian Sea, you will find that towards the south, whatever area is present is under the control of the Iranian Empire, down to the eastern Arabia and sometimes even some part of Afghanistan as well. So these two superpowers were divided by most of the world, and they were called as Tachin, meaning that China called both of these superpowers together as Tachin. Tachin roughly means west in Chinese, and west because China lies to the easternmost part of the world, so that is why. So with this we come to the end of the first part. We'll begin the next part tomorrow.